Okay. Before everyone gets upset, we all know that Tulane Teller of Tales is good, right? We know this. But hear me out. We just went ahead and built an infinite combo Tulane with no game changers. So buckle up, get ready to go through this list. I think if you wanted to build it, you would have fun. As you can see, the estimated deck cost is $366. So chances are you have most of this stuff probably in your bulk. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go through this list. No game changers. It is estimated at a bracket 4 solely because of Tulane and a couple other cards. So let's go ahead and get right into the list that I will be running Friday at my local game store and see if we can make it pop off and have an infinite combo. All right, so we got Tulane Taylor of Tales. Of course, whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now, we see the keyword, it says battlefield. It doesn't say tap. It can come in untapped if the land can do so, of course. And you can pay 3 and tap it, return target creature you control to its owner's hand. Now, you might be wondering where we're going with this list. So we'll go ahead and get to the artifacts that we're running with. We're running Talisman of Curiosity, Thought Vessel, Lightning Greaves, Panharmonicon, and Soul Ring. Standard little package. Lightning Greaves is here solely just to give Tulane protection. Thought Vessel is here for no maximum hand size because we plan to draw a lot of cards. Panharmonicon is just for ETB triggers when creatures enter for a couple cards in the list. We can get an additional trigger of that. All right, so creatures, we are running 31. We got Silent Simulacrum. We searching for that basic. We got some ramp creatures in Avacyn Pilgrim, Elvish Mystic. We got Coiling Oracle, just to whenever we play it, when it enters, look at the top card. If it's a land, we get to put it to the battlefield. Just another source of ramp. Otherwise, we can put the card in our hand, which is always going to be good value. Ornithopter, you can see it costs 0, but there's a reason why it's in here. Timeless Witness is basically the big brother of Eternal Witness, just being able to, whenever it enters, return a target card from the graveyard to your hand. And also with Eternalize for 7, you know, if we're feeling frisky, we can go ahead and Eternalize and bring it back as a 4/4. Elvish Mystic, Restoration Angel, just for the flicker. Fabro Elder. Since we are running some ramp in here, we want to be able to ramp for 3 colors if possible. And we're going to need the mana. We're going to need it all. Eternal Witness, we all know what it does. We're getting any card back from the graveyard and putting it back to our hand. Shrieking Drake, whenever it ETBs, return a creature you control to its owner's hand for 1 blue. You can probably see where we're going with this. Birds of Paradise, of course, Reclamation Sage, when it just for a little bit of spot removal on a creature. White Mane Lion, Blink Effect, Yeva, just to help. If we need to end of turn flash in some green creatures, we can make that happen. Druid of Petrification, some artifact enchantment removal for the list. Beast Whisperer is going to be the card draw of choice in the list. Whenever we cast a creature spell, draw a card. That pairs very well with Tulane. Whenever we cast a creature spell, we draw a card. So we will net 2 cards and possibly playing a land from our hand. We like that. Destiny Spinner, just making our creatures and enchantment spells we control unaccounterable. Helga, the Skittish Seer. She reads, whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater, you draw a card, you gain a life, and put a 1/1 counter on Helga. And then you can tap Helga to add X mana of any 1 color, where X is Helga Skittish Seer's power. Spend his mana on the cast creature spells with mana cost 4 or greater, or creature spells with X in their mana cost. Now, as you can see, we do a lot of cast creature effects. We want to draw cards. We're trying to dig and get as much value as you can off of a creature spell being cast. So between having Helga, Beast Whisperer, and Tulane on board, we're going to potentially draw us 3 cards, 2 to 3 cards at least. That's the goal. We want to fire through our deck as quick as possible. We got Tireless Provisioner just for some value playing these lands, especially the free lands from Tulane, because it gets over your 1 land per turn because it's based on Tulane. Whenever land you control enters, create a food or a treasure token. where chances are we're always going to treasure token. We want mana as much as we can make for as long as we can make it. Cutzel is here to shut off our opponents from playing anything during our turn, because once we're ready to pop off, we are ready to pop all the way off. Room Crab, landfall trigger. If we're getting all these lands hitting the board, chances are we might mill our opponents out. Avenger of Zendikar. When this creature enters, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control, and it also has landfall. When that land you control enters, you may put a 1/1 counter on each plant creature you control. So now we can go wide with this list with Avenger and do some cheeky stuff with it as well. Psychosis Crawler. The only text we're really worried about was this, is whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. This might play a role in the game as well as we go through. Zavala is just big ramp, big mana, can definitely do a lot with Helga. The bigger she gets, the more mana we can make with Zavala, and we can go from there. Tatiova, landfall trigger, gain a life, draw a card. Laboratory Maniac, as you can see, if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game. So you see a lot of the value so far in our deck wants us to draw cards. We want to win the game with one of our win cons being Laboratory Maniac. Ancestral Statue. When it ends the battlefield, return a non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. You see where we're going. You see where we're getting to. Displace a kitten whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent you control, then return to the battlefield. So we're going to get some ETB effects if we need, flicker some things, and kind of go from there. Hullbreaker Horror. Can't be countered whenever you cast a spell. Choose up to 1. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand, or return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. We're just doing more. We're just trying to have this deck to do more. Anytime we cast anything, we want value. We don't care about the ETBs. If we get them, good. They're going to bring us value, but we want cast triggers. Cast. Now, y'all see Craterhoof. We all know Big Bad Craterhoof. Is an 8-drop. Whenever it enters, creatures you control gain trample and get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Now, as you can see, Craterhoof costs 8. Helga lets you cast spells based on her power, 4 or greater. As you can tell, we are running things like Ancestral Statue, things that's going to bounce stuff back to our hand, play stuff back out, back to our hand, play stuff back out. So we can potentially infinite combo with a Craterhoof, swing our board infinite with trample. But you might be wondering, like, where's the infinite combo at? Where we're going to get there. We're going to get there. One more card. We have Elish Norn. You got to have Elish Norn in here. All ETBs that we have trigger twice. But remember, Panharmonicon, it would trigger an additional time. And then permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control the trigger. So we're shutting them down, but we're multiplying our ETB effects with Elish Norn out. Just straight value. Now, once we get to these enchantments, you're going to figure out what the deck is going to do. Comment down below if you made it this far in the video. Comment the word Hershey. Comment the word Hershey if you made it this far into the video. All right, so enchantments, we are running Elemental Bond for card draw, creatures 3 or more. Cryptolith Rite, creature you control, have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Guardian Project, whenever a creature we cast enters the battlefield, we draw a card. Also triggers with Panharmonicon. That can net us 2 cards. Wilderness Reclamation, at the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. And the piece that brings it all together, Intruder Alarm. So, you might can see where this is going with a lot of the creatures that we're running. A lot of them are mana dorks. They give us some type of value that we get tapped for, or Cryptolith right, we can use creatures that are on board, use them for mana, cast a creature, and when it comes into play, we untap all our creatures. Kutzel is going to be a very big key in this deck because if Kutzel resolves and we can get a piece of our chain going, our opponents can cast anything on our turn, then we can kind of choose how we want to combo off. So Intruder Alarm is the big piece that brings this whole deck together. Keep that in mind. All right, instance package. We have Search for the Frozen, Esper, which is Nature's Claim. We have Frantic Search, Beast Within, Generous Gift, Negate, Arcane Denial. Then we have, of course, Swords, Offer You Can't Refuse. Chord of Calling is in here. Chances are our search for Chord of Calling will always be Kutzel. We will try to hold it as long as we can for the Kutzel play, bring it in at the end of our turn. Hopefully we have Destiny Spinner out, and then we can combo off from there. That's the plan. Flawless Maneuver is a good card, and I forgot I even had this card, and I randomly stumbled upon it. If you control your commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. It gives creatures you control indestructible till end of turn, which is really, really good getting past a board wipe. Chroma's Will. Chroma's Will is Chroma's Will. Silence, just in case we don't have Kutzel and we need to silence, maybe fog our opponent before us to make it back to our turn. And then lastly, we have lands. We're keeping it very, very simple in OG. Running the 3 shocks, Reliquary Tower, Command Tower, 15 forests, 7 plains, and 8 islands. And then, of course, we're running Teferi. It's in here. We're trying to lock our opponents out from doing anything of our turn. We have our ramps packaged with Nature's Lore, Rapid Growth, Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, Farseek, 3 visits. We're trying to dig out lands. We're trying to dig them out quick. Savine's Reclamation is in here solely because it can get us a lot of value cards back. Kutzel, we can bring it back to the board. Intruder Alarm, we can get it back if for some reason it gets destroyed. Those are going to be probably the 2 main targets that we use Savine's Reclamation for. Riskard's Expertise is just going to let us dig a little bit once we get probably Helga up to something. Or if we decide we want to loop Crater Hoof Behemoth over and over and over and make everything just pumped to infinity, we'll draw a whole deck out. Hopefully we have Laboratory Maniac on the board and then we win the game. Eldritch Revolution is just here so we can search a little bit. Probably we'd end up hitting Eternal Witness, or let's go back up to the top just to get value, or Timeless Witness, mainly because if we want to, we can always build the mana up. It won't be really a big problem in this deck, and bring it back out. So that can be our sack outlet to look for a piece that we need to get onto the battlefield. And then we have our 1 board wipe, Austra Command. Chances are how we're going to try to play this, we're going to build up enough mana if we need to have Kutzel on the board or Silence on the board. We'll go ahead and board wipe, and in response to the board wipe, we'll make our guys indestructible. There's so many different lines that we can go with this deck. So as you can see, Intruder Alarm is the piece that we need. The deck does not do what we want it to do unless Intruder Alarm is on board. All we want basically is to, hopefully we have Cryptolith right on board, giving all of our creatures while they're out and they don't have Summon Sickness, give them the ability to tap for mana, and we just go to town. We loop. We can either mill our opponents all the way out. We can win with Laboratory Maniac. We can win with just overrunning someone with infinitely casting Crater Hoof Behemoth. So many different lines that we can go with the deck. Shrieking Drake, just bouncing it back to our hand over and over and over and over and over, and drawing cards infinitely off of Tulane. There's so many routes with this deck with no game changes that you can go into every game and probably try to kill your opponents one way or another. And also Psychosis Crawler as well pairs very, very good with Beast Whisperer and Tulane on the board. So you draw all these cards from Tulane being here, Beast Whisperer on the cast, Helga on the cast. You draw a card, you're just going to ping your opponents down and they have nothing they can do because chances are you've either silenced or you have Kutzel on board. So this is my list of Tulane. I think it's pretty spicy. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this list. Will we have games that we just stall and we don't do what we really, really want to do? Of course. But if we have the right 3 to 4 pieces, I feel we'll infinite the table. We'll win the game. We're either gonna mill our whole pod. We're gonna ping them to death with Psychosis Crawler. We're gonna overrun them with Craterhoof Behemoth being cast over and over and over and over and over. Or what I really want to win with is Laboratory Maniac. So let me know down in the comments below if you like this list. What would you change in the list? Will you give this list a shot? I'll leave it down in the comments down below. But without further ado, Tulane, Tulane, you looking real spicy. Hey, draw a card, you win. That's it. Once we start getting the ball rolling, it's a wrap. So comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the list. And if you made it this far in the video, I want you to comment the word Snorlax. Comment the word Snorlax if you made it this far into the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.